not this. Hello and welcome back to For the Fans, where tonight we are excited to talk about the latest episode of Survivor 47, which was a very, very interesting episode. Lots to talk about, lots of actions, a blindside, blood, breakups. I mean, we just had it all. And so I'm excited to talk about it, excited to see what you three gentlemen thought about the episode. And I'm very glad to see y'all tonight, Kevin, Robbie, and Ryan.
Happy to be back.
Good to be here. What an episode. We had some of everything. We had, like you said, blood. We had some sweat. There was some tears. It was everything going on. There was some mafioso maneuverings. Some would say threats. Some would say ultimatums. Whatever. There was some of it all.
Honestly, I think it's one of the most complete episodes we've had. That, Jesus, since I can't remember a more complete episode where you have everything. You have entertaining challenges with weird twists. You have people dropping the ball. You have people carrying their team. You have people making alliances, breaking alliances, finding advantages, everything you can think of, stabbing people in the back, everything.
Not the best episode for Team Teeny, but it's just such a good episode. You can't even be mad at it.
Could have been worse.
I do have to ask Rye. As we know, you're here for Team Teeny content. And last week you said it was probably the best episode ever. Last week with Teeny. This week,
it's the greatest episode ever. Teeny did so good this episode.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm Team Teeny. I will defend Teeny, and I got the stats to prove it. So
I want to see the stat. Okay, I love it.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. And we are not getting to know our little friends over here on the Blue Tribe very well because they had their little stumble early on, and then they're like, okay, we're good now. Y'all aren't going to see us until the merge. So we get like one segment from them this episode, and it was kind of like hyped up this week. And it was in the, next time on Survivor, and this whole blood scene, and like, where's Sue? And I was like, I don't know, because I had heard a rumor that maybe Sue got evacuated. And so I was like, I heard that pre-season, and I tried very hard to stay away from the Survivor rumors. But I was like, oh my God, like maybe this is actually going to be blood. Like this is so terrible.
It looked bad in the preview.
Mm-hmm. Bad how? Bad as in blood or bad as in
blood? It looked bad as in like it looked like it was going to be a big fall for Sue. There was blood everywhere. In the preview, it looked bad. It looked bad for her.
That's interesting. I thought for sure that was cheese,
Paint?
like cheesy.
Yeah.
Like
I knew it was fake. It was just too red.
Yeah. But you know what though? When I for half a second, when I saw Sue walking with the machete, I'm like this is gonna have to be really bad. Like,
yeah,
it's not easy to have that much red on the ground.
Yeah. So we see Sue. She's kind of talking about how she's, trying to pull a fast one on everyone. She's lying about her age. She's really, upper 50s, but she's going to try to pass off as 45.
Okay, but can we talk about that for a second? She's trying to say that she's 45 and that she has grandchildren. Like,
it's possible.
It's possible, but that's
right,
like...
here's the math. Here's the math. At 15, you had a child, and then your child had a child at 15.
Perfect.
No, dude, you can
22 and 23. I mean,
yeah,
very reasonable ages.
Yeah.
But Sue looks amazing. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade.
I don't think it's the grandparent thing. I think it's just the optics thing.
Yeah, but
Listen,
Sue doesn't
like,
look 45.
No.
She looks amazing, but
45.
probably not 45.
But who am I to question it, right?
But who am I to question it?
If
And
I'm Kyle, yeah,
Kyle's
you said
like,
45.
good for you.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Good
okay.
for you. Like, you're not out here with a walker or anything.
Kyle's thinking 10 years from now, that's me.
Yeah. I think there's enough people that are like, mid to upper 30s that are like, but okay, pop off queen. Who knows? So Sue's like, but I am here. Like, I am going to prove everybody wrong. Like, I don't need a man or I don't need people to drag me along. Like, I can stake my own claim in this game. And so we see Sue out taking her little walk, and she does find a beware advantage, and she quickly snatches it up. And y'all, plain and simple, like, it has a map just straight to it. Like, go to this tree and pull the vine, and down will tumble your idol.
Straightforward. No twists and turns.
I thought this was going to be part one of a longer thing. And then I was like, okay, well, I mean, maybe it's just because of the first idol. They wanted this to be like a lockbox type situation. So in this one, this is the follow-up idol. Okay, cool. And then she knocks down, then she chops the rope.
Yeah. It does kind of set the precedence, though. Like, if you're going to get a full idol in the second one, maybe if you find the idol in the first one, play it super fast, because then you can find a better one.
True.
Without people knowing.
Honestly, that's a fantastic point. Because initially after seeing that, I was like, okay, this is kind of cheesy when someone had to do as much effort as they had to do to get a one tribal idol, digging it, finding two different pieces, and then you go through twice as much trouble, and then suddenly it's good for 3 tribals, and then all Sue has to do is cut a rope. And
no, Robbie, do not short shift it. She didn't only have to cut a rope.
Definitely an altogether easier task. However,
okay, the task itself was easier.
Sure.
The finding the idol was way harder. Not finding the idol, not physically finding it, but the bucket that let me just jump in here, Kylie. I know what you're going to say. The bucket that the idol's in is also filled with red paint.
Yes.
And it comes hurtling down from the trees, from the heavens, actually. It was the trees, but she just looks up, and it comes flying down with great speed, breaks open the bucket, and it's just a giant red blotch that has hit the ground and splattered everywhere because it comes hurtling down.
So,
your idol is also in this paint.
This looks like something straight out of Home Alone. I mean,
yes.
It has to be created by people.
Kevin McAllister set this up.
I saw a tweet that said that if that person had been out there, that they would have just laid on the ground and acted like
I got shot. Someone shot me.
This thing fell down out of the tree and bonked me in the head because what WTF do you do with this? Like,
correct.
It's fun because it's like, oh my gosh, I have an idol. And then also in that exact next moment, oh my gosh, it does look like a crime scene. I'm so happy that they chose red.
Yeah, there's 2 quick points about this one. One is, do you think the producers were making sure that the landing zone was clear and watching that? Because I'm thinking, what if it was one of those seasons where you go out as a group of 4 and you're like, hey, let's all go find this idol and control it. And there's a bunch of people standing on the path while you're cutting this thing. And then you drop a 20-pound bucket of paint from 30 feet in the air right on the path. I was like, that was a pretty interesting strategy from production. But the other thing was, is there a rule against using a stick? Because we have seen this same twist multiple times where they've had to put their hand into red paint and pull out the idol. And I'm just thinking it must be in writing that they're not allowed to use anything but a machete or something, because how silly do you have to be to see a pile of red paint with an idol in it and not just grab a branch or something to scoop scoop your idol.
Are you talking about for her to have it her? So that's not even the issue.
No, but
This
the
thing
issue is
When
people are
it falls
putting.
down is on the ground, why
Yes.
not just like chopstick it out?
This is
as
what I'm
opposed to,
saying.
like,
Why aren't they just using a
reach in?
stick to pull the idol out of the paint? People are putting their
Robbie,
hands in the
what are you-
paint.
Okay, Robbie, I need you to stop right here. Okay,
What is going on?
listen, I'm already out here secretly. I don't want anyone to find this idol.
Yes.
I have found that I have found the paper that says an idol is if I cut this tree, this rope on a tree.
Yep.
The moment I cut the rope, it explodes with red paint.
Yes.
There is no way in hell I'm like, oh, do I have some chopsticks nearby? No, the idol is in
That's
this
the
bitch, and there's
difference,
red
though,
paint
Kevin.
everywhere. I
That's
need to
the
grab this
difference.
right now and get to
No.
work because
No.
someone.
If your goal is not to get caught, then maybe sticking your hand in the red paint is not the best idea. You're also in the woods. There are
Right.
plenty of sticks for you to
It's
choose from.
literally like surrounded by leaves and
Do you guys
ferns.
not understand the part where there's red paint everywhere?
Yeah.
That's the
Why
part.
would you? Okay, but if you're gonna reach in, then it takes just as much time as to like grab a stick and do it.
No,
Like
no.
the paint's not gonna disappear in that time. It's
But you
not
guys
gonna
are focused
vanish.
on the actual idol part. The moment the red paint is all on the ground, your brain switches to panic mode because I was supposed to be doing this stealthily. This is no longer stealth.
Well, you just
This is
hammered
now
it
speed.
there, Kevin. She panicked.
Of course, you panic.
And you this is where legends are made, is
Get outta
decisions
here.
like this, where if you're smart enough in a moment of panic to not put your hands in. What if it was a giant tub? Okay, imagine if it was this. Imagine if the water well was filled with paint and Rome had to go in and get the idol from the bottom. Is he gonna go head to toe in red paint, or is he gonna go get a stick and reach in and scoop something out?
He's gonna dive in there first, and then when he comes up with paint,
Oh
he's gonna be
shit!
like, "I'm covered in paint." That's
Yeah.
exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
That's first
Oh,
off.
I
Secondly,
bit the back of my tongue. Is what she said. So I got, by biting my tongue, I got paint or blood on
all over me.
hair. Like
Just that like the little ladle was completely red. Like it was covered in paint.
Yeah. So okay, Robbie,
And
do you
seems
have
like- Got away with it.
have you ever you have children, right, Robbie?
I do, yes.
When your children were young,
Yep.
if they spilled the milk,
Yep.
or
I use my shirt.
are they knocked over
don't use
their
my bare
bowl
hands.
of cereal? You knocked over their bowl of cereal. Did you immediately go, "How do I get this spoon out of here?" Or did you say, "We got to get up this milk"?
I don't know.
That's what happened with Sue. He said, "I got to get up this paint right now." The idol.
I'm telling you,
you. Get
listen,
this paint out of here.
I've been at the arenas or at the hockey rinks where the kid, we call it double barrel when they sneeze, and it's coming out like snot rockets,
Okay.
and you don't have tissues. I don't go like this with my freaking hands and swipe those. I grab a sleeve, all right, or I grab a winter mitt or something. And then we go. Okay.
Oh, and that's fair. I
Yeah.
feel like though you're not trying to rush when they're double barreling it.
Put a sock on your hand and fucking get in there.
Literally put a sock in it.
Literally put a sock in it, Sue.
I don't even think though she got the paint from like grabbing the idol. You guys keep talking
No,
about the
she
idol.
did because it was fully covered.
Guys,
When she opened it, I was like, this whole contraption, because same thing. I'm like,
But Kevin,
sis, put
the
it in
answer-
your pocket and
Sorry,
start
Callie.
cleaning your shit up and read it in a little while.
the answer is so simple. You scoop it up with a freaking leaf, you walk to the ocean, and you wash it off. How
And
hard
you just leave the other paint there?
who fucking cares? It's not on you. Say somebody else did it.
I don't understand what you guys are talking about. She bit her lip.
No. Okay, so later on in the episode, she's at the water well talking to Tiana and Caroline, and they're saying, "Oh, are you okay? You got like blood on your chin." And
I was
and then
I
she
was
goes,
just casually playing with the machete.
well, and then she goes, "Oh, you got blood on your hair too. How'd you get blood on your hair and your chin?" She goes, "Well, I cut myself with a machete." And then she goes, "No, I never cut myself. I bit my tongue."
With the machete.
But,
Duh.
like, she changed her story halfway. She's just panicking, right, Kevin?
Well,
right, Kevin? You're just
Well, she is
panicking.
100% panicking. Well, the best part about that was that she thought she got away with it. As we're watching, as she has paint on her chin and in her hair, she's like, all done. And they're like, Are you okay? Yeah, never been better. You're bleeding.
And
Wait, what?
to bring it back to a child, like Sue's sitting there with her hands like hidden behind the well because they're still covered in red paint.
Paint all over them, by the way.
Yeah, and so as a parent, you're like, what do you have behind your?
What are you doing?
Nothing to see here. Y'all are good. Go back to camp.
But Kylie, again, on the parenting side of things, if we want to stick with that, Sue should know the first thing you do after a giant unexpected mess like this is you go have a bath or you go have a shower. Like you go clean up. You don't just like, okay, I just threw up all over myself. I'm gonna get a napkin or like pour water on my head. No, you wash up and then you go wash up.
Like, that's what she was doing. She couldn't go in front of them to the water. She did the water well because that's her closest.
Ocean.
But that's where everyone is chilling. She can't go there because they're all watching her.
I was thinking the ocean too, but just like Ryan said, if everyone's at the ocean, I'm also screwed because I walk up, I'm like, oh, hey guys, and I got paint all over me. What happened?
I'm saying after she washed her hand off, she was still hanging around the water well, is what I'm saying. She was still trying to clean stuff up. She went back into dirt. Then she came back to the water well. I'm like, if your body is clean, I don't even care about the paint that's out in the thing. Like, you're in a game of lying. As long as it's not attached to me, yeah. Where's all this paint from? I don't know.
God. Here's the thing though, Robbie. Like, I mean, I find you and there's a pile of paint near you.
Yeah, well, okay, if you're found. I'm not saying that, Kevin. I'm saying she should have got the hell out of there without paint all over her.
And then I go and I see the pile of paint.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go gather everyone else around and say,
yes,
there's paint here.
Yes.
We've already said, where's Sue?
Okay.
What does Sue have to do with this paint? Because obviously
you're piecing a lot of pieces together there, Kevin. I don't know.
If she had just done the last part of what Robbie said, if she had swept the paint how she did a great job with that. She did a decent job of getting the paint off of herself. If she had done that last part of the follow through of at that point in time, booking it down to the ocean, taking a dip, great opportunity to take a poo, and washed off head to toe, get it all out of you, girl. And so she was very, very close to being able to pull it off. But instead, Caroline and Tiana do walk up, and Tiana is like, my spidey senses are tingling because this isn't blood.
Props though to her.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean,
also props to the producers because this was a fantastic twist.
Yeah,
of having the paint in the barrel in the bucket with the idol. I think this is one of the hardest idols to find, not to physically find, but in the fight of the panic. Because imagine if she found this at night. She does it, the thing breaks. She can't really see that there's a bunch of paint splattered, but she's like, she picks it up.
That right there, Kevin.
That would have been great.
Imagine if it happened at night.
Then she has this idol that she goes back to camp. She's like, I don't know what this is on it, but whatever, I'm back at camp. She wakes up in the morning. They're like, why is there paint on you?
Yeah.
What paint? Oh, I don't know what happened. I was playing with the flag, and then I
bit my tongue.
Yeah, then someone goes to get water, and they're like, I think I see why Sue had a lot of paint on her. There's a lot of paint right here that she left.
And a broken urn.
But I'm gonna be excited to see what happens with this. However, I could anticipate not seeing Blue go back to tribal council.
That's
asterisk. Right. We'll come back to this at the end. All right, moving on. We got a little bit from our yellow Gata tribe, and there may be a little bit of trouble in paradise. So we last episode got this picture painted for us that the other tribes are seeing Sam and Sierra as like a couple and that they are dating. I'm like, we need to put some definitions on the word dating because we're stuck on a stranded island playing a game for $1 million. They are not dating. They may be into each other, which they're not, but they would not be.
I don't know about that.
But Kylie,
I don't know about that.
They like long walks on the beach.
This is true, but they are not dating. Okay. So we need to take that term off, but little bit of trouble in paradise because Sam and Sierra are seeing the game a little bit differently. Kevin, who do you think has the better vision for their duo?
So as we're seeing it, Sam wants to work with Andy because he feels like he can control Andy. And he does not like Annika.
Annika.
Annika. He does not like Annika. Sierra doesn't really want to work with Andy because he's a loose cannon. And she likes the girls. Makes sense. All of this tracks. I like this. I respect both. You said which one has the better one? Neither and both. They both are being a little self-interested, which is why.
Stop hedging your bets, Kevin.
No, this is not even a hedge. This is not a hedge, legitimately, because both of them are saying what is
Sounds
right.
like an ultimatum.
There's not an ultimatum. It's a hedge.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, legitimately though, that I respect the fact that both of them are trying to push what's right for their individual games, because for Sierra, it is better for the girls to be here, 100%. For Sam, it is better for Andy to be here, 100%.
Is it though? You
You're cutting out.
I can hear you.
like you can keep the loyal vote, but he like can't keep a shot in the dark in his pants. So how good is that to have on your side?
Yeah.
It's great.
So my thing is I agree with you, Kevin, where you say like it is good for them both to kind of press their agenda and what is better for their individual games. However, in the few circumstances that they have to draw from, Andy is a loose cannon. And so I think Sierra's very, very justified in being like, ooh, I can see where this goes badly. You know, kind of like Banu last season, where in a certain circumstance, Andy spills the beans to the wrong people. Andy has another emotional outburst. I mean, you're looking at Annika and Rachel, and they're both very smart. They're level headed. And yes, in addition, they could also be better for you if they'd rather keep you around than Sam long term. But I think I come down with Sierra because Sierra has put in that work with Andy. Andy does trust her. But I think I come down on Sierra's side of we got to get rid of Andy because he's a loose cannon.
Yeah, I think if you're asking who's in a better position, I would say Sierra. If you're asking who is better for the duo or who understands the duo, I think Sierra didn't seem to empathize with Sam as much as Sam did. I think Sam articulated his point really well about the value of the girls to Sierra, and he was trying to express the value of Andy to him. And I didn't feel like Sierra was really listening to that perspective. It was only how Sam impacted her, or not Sam, sorry, how Andy impacted her game. And it wasn't about how Andy was valuable to Sam. And I think as a duo, I think if there's going to be somebody say something that breaks the duo up, I think it's going to be Sierra pushing Sam too far. I don't think it's going to be Sam pushing. I think it's going to be Sam reacting to Sierra, just because Sierra's in a better spot and she's just not seeing the need to be empathetic. And we see that as a theme in this episode, where somebody who is in a better spot does not see the need to be empathetic to somebody who's in a worse spot until the shoe is on the other foot.
Well,
to make
that's
things
one
even
thing
more interesting on the yellow tribe, Sam has an idol, which he has to play at the next tribal. So even if like Sierra doesn't want to vote for him, he can say, too bad I'm playing on an Andy, my way or the highway. And Annika can't vote. So even if the three girls do have like a 3, then it's really only 2 vote-wise. Annika can't do anything.
In addition, though, to all of this, another thing that's really, really good, if you're thinking about it for the pair, Andy makes more sense for the pair of them, right? But it puts Sierra on a back foot. So it's because like, let's say we're staying in this tribe, Andy stays, Annika goes, then next would be Rachel and then Sierra in that theory, right? Or Andy, Sierra or Andy. Whereas if you get rid of Andy right now, Sam would be next. So as to keep the duo in here, Andy's better for them. But Sierra's individual game is better off with Andy on. And like you were saying, Robbie, people are being more self-interested nowadays, which I love to see
Yeah.
on these games because they're aware of how the game plays. Because if you're not aware how the game plays, sometimes you might get out of your best ally.
Well, and as we're talking this through, I think it's simply put that Sam is more loyal to the duo because he has less options.
Mm-hmm.
He needs it
Mhm.
more.
Facts.
Right?
That's facts.
Sierra's less loyal to the duo because she could do
I
other
like you,
things.
Sam. I like you, Sam,
Yeah.
but I have other plans over here.
Yeah.
Another big factor of it is when is the merge, or not even merge, like mergatory, when they come together, going to be? By this
Mhm.
point, we've already had 4 votes go by, so there can't be too many more until we're there. And if your tribe is doing pretty good, like statistically, it's possible that you're not going to go to tribal again. And if you do, maybe it's only 1. So maybe just like, although it would put Sam in like a worse spot if Andy goes to the next round, then going into the merge, I think that optics are still better going with that 4 because Andy's not going to pull any numbers and people are going to say, okay, when we come to merge yellow, red, who do we want to target on yellow? They're not going to say, oh, we need to get out Andy because he's the biggest threat. They're going to target Sam. Physical threat, social person, strategic player. He's the one that they're going to target. So maybe it's better to keep Annika and Rachel, which is a visible duo and visible meat shield that you can use later. So I don't think Andy's bad for Sam either.
It's funny you said that because like Andy can't win this game, right? It's so funny about like Survivor and Big Brother as well. You can't win on day 3, but you could lose on day 3.
Yeah.
And Andy's outburst on the mat lost him this game. Straight up. It lost him a lot of respect from people. He's seen as expendable. He can't win now. Kylie, as you know, here on For the Fans, we cover Big Brother. Angela lost the game when she did the whole speech on the steps. That was it, because there was nothing she could do to regain people's respect in the game. And you have a jury of your peers.
I'm going to push back on that I mean, we're not going to get into Big Brother, but
I would say on Monday.
I'm going to push back on that as a premise. I kind of agree. Yes, you can lose the game on day 3, but that's because if you are the type of player that has an outburst like what Angela did, like what Andy does, you are probably going to have tendencies to do other things along the way that reaffirms that for people.
That previous outburst.
So like maybe if like Liz having her little meltdown way further into the season, something like that is a little more excusable. But whenever it's early on and then like, okay, this Andy, I don't know if we can really trust him and work with him.
Right.
And then he does stuff like the coconut thing. And then he does stuff like losing his shot in the dark. It's like, he's kind of,
reaffirms your already previous feeling. And I'm with you. So it goes, and you're correct. But that's what you extrapolate that back to what we were saying about Sam. Sam is doing everything right. We like Sam. He's very sociable. He's connecting to people. That means he is much more dangerous than Andy, because Andy ain't winning a jury vote. Like it's already over. So because we're seeing these things from Andy, not us, but the people that are on the island. They're seeing these things from Andy. So I'm much more likely to keep Andy around because that's one less person that can take this money from me.
If you're Sam, you want Andy to make the jury. That's your goal. Honestly, if I'm Sam, I'm thinking I need him to make the jury and then he can go. And the only friend he's going to remember is me. And as long as I somehow bridge the gap of lying to him about the idol before he goes, or find a way in my speech to really bridge, because Andy's going to find out, later on. Like, what do you mean he was lying to me the whole time? And then suddenly he's bitter or whatever. Like, you don't want that either. But, I wouldn't be against the strategy of Sam getting rid of Sierra right before merge either, and going in as the clear underdog. If he doesn't think Annika is going to work with him, he doesn't think Rachel's going to work with him, then, go in as I got rid of my showmance that people think, and I'm a free agent, and I've got Andy in my back pocket. I wouldn't be against that either. It's not ideal, but it's
No.
yeah.
But the jury point is very, very critical.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
mean, wait, you're trying to tell me that Sam doesn't want Annika on the jury?
They're
But they get along so well.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
good
really. Yes.
All right. Anything else to add about our little tribe there? Because that's about all we're going to get from Blue and Yellow, because the rest of this episode is about the Red Lobo tribe. Because
The last thing I can say about Yellow is that I am surprised how harmonious they are and how well they do in challenges, especially on the puzzles. It's very impressive, and I'm glad that they were not the disaster tribe we thought they would be.
Yeah.
I wish it would rain horribly for 2 days, because I would love to see how this tribe would deal being jammed in a shelter that they,
pressure cooker. Yeah.
horribly put together and have to sit in the rain and freeze and get their personalities meshing.
Janky world.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. That is not the piece, Rome. So we get to the immunity challenge, and it's a fun challenge, a little bit something different that we have not seen in US Survivor, right?
I loved it.
The big cube. I mean, we've seen it in Australian Survivor, but
We have not.
yeah. Okay, but y'all have not. Okay, so taken from Australian Survivor. But we've seen the same kind of mechanism. Anyways, so they collect the pieces. We're kind of neck and neck. All three tribes are basically getting to the puzzle about at the same time.
Very close.
Really competitive.
Very close, yeah.
Like nobody just completely dominates this. Nobody is out of it. They're very evenly matched, which based off of the last 6 seasons that we've watched where we have had this disaster tribe, I think literally in all 6 seasons, it is nice to see these competitive challenges, because it isn't fun to see like what happened last season with whatever. I can't even think of what that, with Q's tribe, and what happened with Shan's tribe, and
Yanu with Bonnie.
we've seen it. So
Carolyn and Carson and them.
So we get to the puzzle, the great equalizer, as everyone says. And once again, our friend Rome has put himself into the hero role. We didn't get to hear the strategizing on this one, but Rome likes to be in that position where
You mean crisscross applesauce?
Yeah.
That position. Yeah.
I think we didn't hear any strategizing because it would have been real tough for someone to hear. So I'm doing the puzzle, and you may not like it, but I don't give a fuck. All right. So,
I would have loved to have seen it
doing
again. When we seen that last episode, I was like, man, this is gonna be interesting.
Well, he probably also gave him 2 fingers to the face and said, I'm doing this, and I don't give a damn if you don't like it, Saul. I'm doing what I want. I'm the man with all the power around here, and I'm doing the fucking puzzle. And Saul had to be like, this is wild. Okay, sure.
Can you imagine being Saul, like being on the wrong side of the votes, and you're just watching him like throw away your safety in this
not
game?
Even just being on the wrong side of the votes, being in a position of a man up a creek with no paddle. There seems to be no glimmer of hope. And then on top of that, I'm watching you throw away my only chance of being here, because you've already made it clear you're sending me home. And I can't even save myself because you're either A, throwing it, or B, just suck.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you used a reference from Big Brother earlier, and I do not watch and have not watched nearly as much as you guys. But one of the big things that I remember from when I did was when you're HOH and you're in power, some people get power hungry, and they forget that once they're not head of household, they're not protected anymore. And I have a feeling that if we remember back to the beginning of the season, which feels like forever ago now already, of this season 47, Rome felt invincible because he had the idol, and everyone knew he had the idol, and he's going to play the idol so he can start pushing buttons. And he could have been a target, but now he can't because he has an idol. He gets rid of the idol, and he still is acting invincible, like he's still head of household here.
Well,
like
because he has the steal a vote.
He has a steal a vote, but the math doesn't always work that way. I mean, when people start losing votes and things, sometimes it's more powerful, but having 2 votes isn't enough in a tribe of 5, right? Like
Rome has benefited from the circumstances of the new era
Yes.
probably more than any other castaway.
Yeah.
Because if Rome is in a typical old era season of Survivor where he has a full-blown immunity idol, he's not going to play it at the first tribal council. But
Yeah.
because of the circumstances of his idol and having it for just one time, he's kind of able to do what you said. He is the head of household. He knows he is not going home, and he is going to play balls to the wall. And he has that protection. Then he has the benefit of he goes on a journey. He miraculously reaches into a bag, pulls out an advantage, and because they are on a tribe of 5, and then we obviously, and we can talk about it in a minute, see Teeny lose her vote. And still a vote goes from this, like we've seen it work like one time in Survivor history to a massive power because of the structure of the new era. So
because of adding a twist where you must lose your vote, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and this is capitalizing on the circumstances. Like, nobody is to blame for that. Rome is playing the game that's set out before him. And so good for him.
On a steal a vote, do you maintain that person's vote on a revote?
I think so. But if the case was the votes were on Rome, then Rome would not be able to vote. So that's what Keyshawn was saying.
Yes.
Keyshawn's plan was even if Rome does steal someone's vote, if there are 2 votes on Rome, then he can't vote in the revote.
And this is kind of what I'm getting at is, anyways, we don't need to beat a dead horse here, but Rome is acting invincible after he's no longer invincible. He has some power, but when you have an idol and you're going to play it, you are invincible. But once it's gone, you need another idol. All the advantages in the world can be nice.
Disagree.
But if you can do the math on getting someone out, it's not the same as having an idol. There's no math that beats an idol unless you have a nullifier.
I disagree, though, is that I need 3 votes to control the vote tonight.
But he didn't know that.
Yeah, no. There's 5 of us.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry. Yes, fair enough.
The majority.
I thought you were referring to the lost vote.
No. I need 3 votes to control the vote. I have my own vote. I can take someone's vote, and me and Genevieve are lockstep. I have 3 votes. So I am still invincible. I have plot armor, right? In a story, in a book, obviously the hero's going to live because he has plot armor. He is the hero of the tale. He has to make it to the end, to the big final battle. That's plot armor in a book and a story. As far as Rome's concerned, he had the idol. He had this advantage. He got out of Asia. I am the main character in this story. I'm not going anywhere. Not everyone has to do what I say. I'm working with the people I want. So Saul, tough titty. Sorry, my guy.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm invincible right here.
A lot of that plays on the premise, though, that you're saying that he had enough from Genevieve to believe that she was a diehard ride or die for him.
I think
I haven't seen enough until this episode of Genevieve, period.
Oh, I didn't either. So
to have any idea what she was into. Now, clearly Rome must have had some faith, but I believe he had the similar faith in Keyshawn.
No. I disagree because of this reason. When they go to Asia in that last episode, Teeny and Keyshawn made up the fact that he was going to use it on Genevieve or himself. So obviously they're a pair, they're a duo based on that little bit of nugget. Because right, we didn't see Genevieve at all.
That's fair.
But,
that's fair.
But that nugget of him being able to save her or himself was that first piece. And then you said Keyshawn. I would think Teeny over Keyshawn because he told Teeny about the idol and not Keyshawn. So, and then Teeny's like, hey, it's gonna be us 4. We still at that point that hadn't seen Genevieve, but she was the 4 they were talking about because she already obviously had the faith. So though we didn't see it, I was able to put that Genevieve and Rome at least felt super close enough that he had 3 votes as far as he was concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sorry for monopolizing this, Ryan. I'll stop talking in about 6 seconds. But until this episode, I did not think that Rome had any ride or die. I thought that only he thought that.
6 seconds. Very well done. Yeah. The crazy thing about me about this and just Rome's dynamic in general is he's already like, for lack of a better word, babysitting Sol and following him around and annoying the crap out of him before they even go to the challenge. So he's not even sure that they're losing. For all he knows, they're going to win the challenge. They're going to make it into merge. And now what's he still going to do? Follow around Sol everywhere in the merge saying, yeah, everyone's going to vote him out.
Was he unsure?
Well,
What?
he seemed...
Was he unsure? So we're gonna get back to that. Finish your thought, Rye.
Yeah, I think he was unsure just because he seemed really disappointed in himself that he couldn't get the piece in, despite the fact that he wouldn't let anybody else do it. I feel like if he was throwing the challenge, he would have been like, yeah, I did that. I threw the challenge. I'm so smart. I'm voting out Sol. But we didn't get that from him. So I don't think he threw anything.
Yes,
Yeah,
this is an epically bad performance. Maybe one of the worst we've ever seen in Survivor.
Yeah.
And I think Rome's ego will not let him be bad at something. So I personally don't think that Rome threw it. I think Rome just
was just really
cannot
bad
do
at
this puzzle.
That could be it. But if you wanted to throw this challenge, or any challenge for that matter, you would insist on being on the last phase. You would insist on being the quarterback of that phase, and you would sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Now, if I was doing it, I would get half the puzzle done really slowly and then just lose and more natural. But if you really wanted to send a message, almost like sitting beside someone and telling them we're going to vote you out, there's nothing you can do about it. I'm in complete control and I'm going to just dominate your game, and then go sit in front of the puzzle in front of you and not put a single piece on, and then go to vote you out. Like, it all tracks for me. Like, it feels like no different than him sitting with Sol and doing what he did with Sol.
Yeah.
So it's just as aggressive and crazy.
This episode was very fun to watch. Rome is just a really dynamic character, someone that is kind of like a little bit of a throwback to an old era casting. And I know that he's a bit polarizing. Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm enjoying the chaos. I have for several years now been saying that I'm over the kumbaya. So I like this. Like, I like that there are two people that just genuinely do not like each other. And it's very well known. And, you know, Keyshawn even says it. He's like, this is amazing for me. Well, yeah, come back
It
to
was
that.
until it
But
wasn't.
in theory, like, this is great. You do kind of want to keep in two people that very publicly dislike each other, because they're always going to go after each other before they go after you. I say that, obviously this doesn't work out. In most theories, this works out though. But
maybe. I mean,
I'm enjoying watching it, but then you do have that little piece inside of you that obviously sympathizes with Sol on a human level, but then also just thinking like, there's nothing he can do. Like, it is completely out of his hands. Like, Rome has this extra vote. Rome is in the hero role. I'm just sitting here.
Can you imagine if Rome was talking to Susan like this, or Sue like this? Or if he was talking to Sierra like this, and just sitting there and berating someone, making them feel useless and all that stuff, and then later on wanting to work with that person and expecting forgiveness.
Well, Rome didn't want to work with Sol. Genevieve wanted to work with Sol, and Genevieve said, we're doing this. And Rome was like, I hate this guy. And Sol was like, I hate this guy too.
Guys, let's pause real fast, because the actual challenge, when Rome is sitting there and the plan is to try each individual piece, and they go and to put it this way, that way, and the other, and then be like, nope, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, till we've gone through every single piece in every manner that we could try to place it. And then for the you should apply for Survivor, Jeff walks up and grabs the right piece and slides it right in there. And it's like the sixth piece he tried is the one that he needed.
Well, it's also like when you saw them doing it, everyone else, if they got a piece and didn't fit, they threw it on the side. It's like, okay, I know that piece now. They put theirs back in the pile.
Right.
They're like,
yeah.
okay, I tried this red piece, didn't work. Let me put it back on top. Probably
Yeah.
grabbed the same piece 4 times.
Yeah.
I think it's a mechanism or mechanics issue. Every time Rome tried a piece, he went to slide it. Oh, I'm out of camera here. He went to slide it in from the side,
Mhm.
not from the front.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And so you basically have like I don't know what to call it, like a shoulder joint, right? Like you can't just go in. You got to come from around, and that's the problem. Is he just kept going, and that's why it made me feel like he was throwing it. I'm like, if you're looking at this, you can't. You have to come in from the front or the back. You can't come in just jamming from the side. It's not going to go. You're not putting a round peg through a square hole here. Like this, it's not going to fit. And
My last pushback, though, Robbie, about throwing is that if you don't get it done, you don't get your flint.
welcome to biology.
Right.
Listen, I've only had one biology course in my life, man. You gotta give me a break on that one.
So you lose your flint, and we already have not had flint for 3 days.
Mm.
So I remember that fish I was catching. Can't cook it, can't clean it, can't cook it. So I think at this point in Survivor, not just in this season, I think throwing challenges is not as prevalent because the punishment is way worse than it used to be.
That could be true. I just don't think Rome thinks that far ahead. I think he thinks, what power do I have right now and what can I do with it? And he doesn't think, what if it goes wrong?
I don't think that he's thinking that while he's competing, though. Like that's my only thing. I think you're right that once he's at the beach, that's how he's thinking. But like right now, we got to try to get this flint back because we have not eaten for 2 days. I need to show him a big fisherman.
I mean, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I need to show him a big fisherman. And so,
well, we may not ever know the answer. Rome, we would love for you to chime in. If and when you watch this, let us know. Did you throw it? And if you can't really speak on it now, love to hear it after the season.
He's gonna put ... That's all he's gonna put is ...
Rome, I don't think you threw it, dog. I got your back.
I don't think you threw it either.
You just think you're bad.
Yeah, I think you were bad at this puzzle, unfortunately. All right, so they lose, and we do have a journey. Let's talk about the journey real quick. Andy, Annika, and Teeny get sent on the journey. Right. What were you thinking? Were you like, yes, my girl Teeny, she's finally getting this opportunity?
I know Teeny, and Teeny does not like journeys. Teeny does not like twists. When I played a game with Teeny, Teeny avoided going on the journey until the very last possible round because Teeny doesn't understand like the twists of the game. Teeny is a social player through and through, and the twist stuff goes straight over her head. So like part of her strategy is finding a strategic player to align with who can figure out all the twisty stuff for her, and then she'll do the social connections. I think that's why she gravitated towards Keyshawn, who's a very strong strategic player, and then Teeny can play the social side of that. So when Teeny's called for a twist, you see visibly on Teeny's face, Teeny's like, fuck, I do not want to do this. I do not want to go. I'm about to go to tribal. My whole thing that I can do is be social with people as we're about to go to tribal. And now I'm going to go, there's going to be some twisty thing. I don't want it. I don't want any advantages. And I could lose my vote doing so. So we get to the journey. And first some people are like, okay, let's just flip over the hourglass at first. And then they're like, no. Let's chat it out of it. And I think what everybody says here is pretty smart. You talk about how Caroline pulls up the Bros Alliance that she was talking about. It's a good, like, yeah, it kind of happened, but not really. Good, like, cover story to brush things under the bat. Teeny says, yeah, Rome and Sol are beefing at it. Very true, very visible. If people make it farther, that's what they're going to hear. So they're not, like, giving away any, like, big secret of information, but they're still providing insight that can build a working relationship. So I think everybody who goes to the journey plays that social part really smartly.
Yeah, and I just want to add Caroline as well. I was really impressed with how Caroline handled this entire thing. I think Caroline handled it perfectly. Not only did she get what she wanted and not have to sacrifice anything and pressured other people to do it, but if you remember back, I don't know if it's episode 1 or 2, where Gabe approached Caroline to make an alliance. And if you can remember Caroline's expression of just complete like disbelief, almost like confusion. It wasn't like, oh, hey, let's do this. Yeah, I got your back. And then go back and do a confessional and say, I don't know what he's talking about. But like, she didn't fake it with Gabe at all. She wears her emotions on her sleeve. You can see what she's feeling. And yet at this, she was being happy, joyful, like really putting it out there, trying to make the friends. And like, I noticed that right away. Like, this is the first time I've seen actual happiness and emotion come out at a first meeting with Caroline. So I was impressed by that.
Kevin, what did you think about this journey in particular, where it was basically a, hey, somebody is going to lose their vote, or all three of you are going to lose your vote if no decision is reached, and in return, you'll get an idol. This is probably my least favorite of the journey iterations. I hated this.
I like the negotiation aspect. I think it needs work, because if three of the four of us, so it's me, it's a boys' night, so it's me, Rye, and Robbie are standing there, and we open the thing and it says one of us needs to give up our vote, or we all lose our vote and we get nothing. It's very obvious. Like, I close the thing and I say, so one of us is for sure giving up our vote. There's no reason for all three of us to give up our vote and get nothing.
But since you said that, Kevin, thank you so much for volunteering, because I'm so worried on my tribe and it cannot be me.
Do you guys ever play odds evens? It's almost like rock, paper, scissors. You're like 1, 2, 3.
Or like rock, paper.
Yeah, but you either put up a 1 or a 2. And then whoever, like, two of us are going to match, and one of you is going to be the odd one out, right? If two people put up a 2, you put up whatever it is, like the odd one out. That's
what we would have to do.
It would have taken the three of us about 7 seconds to be, 6 seconds. Sorry, to stick with my theme, but it would take about 6 seconds to be like, all right, like even.
Well, I think it'll be 6 seconds after we all discuss. I'm going to travel tonight. I should probably have my vote. You don't think? But you're worried.
I'm on the bottom.
Ride.
I need mine.
Okay, then odds even. Like, that's like, no, it's like, okay, we just discussed.
So here's my thing is, like listening a lot to Rob Has a Podcast, they talked about, the impact of Asia in the first episode, like going on the challenge with TK, and, whether or not that was a good decision for her. Asia ultimately got to make that decision for herself, and whether or not it impacted her game long term, she decided that. For like Teeny and who I can't remember which tribe it was, but for Teeny and Andy, they did not even get to choose to go on this journey, and then they do not get to choose that they are having to participate in this. I do not like that aspect of it.
No, I don't care about that.
If it's where the boat shows up and they volunteer to get on the boat, whatever, a decision is made there. That's kind of like the beware part of the twist.
So remind me, how were they selected?
Chosen by the other tribe. You had no control in that.
Andy, Sam, and the girls won the challenge. They got to pick who went.
Okay, I couldn't remember which one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. So that's your control, Kylie.
But that's like, I'm just going to pick some random people on the other tribe. And then Teeny's is like, okay, I volunteer you to lose your vote. With like everybody else who won the previous journey, they had to decide for themselves where they wanted to risk it. Whereas now the people who are going on this one are voluntold to be, okay, people are going to think that you have an advantage, so they're going to target you for that.
Had no choice. She did not get to have any control in the challenge that Rome botched for them. And then she gets picked, and then she basically gets told, sorry, girl, Kylie, all of us can't lose our votes.
Kylie, you can't
Some days
blame...
you have rough days at the office. Some days you have rough days at the office.
You can't blame the environment. You can't blame the environment.
I'm Team Kylie on this one. I think this is purely the twist team saying we're going to screw players.
Okay, right. Yeah, it worked out against Teeny, so obviously... okay, well, listen, did Teeny force herself to do the puzzle?
I don't have the personal investment in Teeny that Rye does. So I'm saying this unanimously across the board. I don't care who.
Kylie, it's very simple to me. I get there.
I'm an opinion, so it's not wrong. I don't like this iteration of it.
That's fine.
I think my biggest qualm with it is not necessarily, well, it is necessarily like the whole, like, you're being decided to lose your vote for someone on the other tribe is saying go lose your vote. But one of my biggest issues is that the advantage that you get sucks. It's terrible. It's like the worst one.
But that's why
Nobody
that's why
getting amulet has ever been good. And now you're saying, okay, I volunteer you. You're going to go lose your vote. You don't have any choice in the matter. And the best thing you can get is a target on your back.
that
Fun.
okay. I have other problems with the amulet, and it's not this. If I'm Teeny and I want my vote, I would say to Andy, so we're going to lose our vote anyway, but you dragged us here. So let's vote who's going to do it, or else all three of us are going to lose our vote anyway. So you might as well do it and we can get something for it. I vote Andy because it's Andy's fault we're here. And then Carolyn would second it because it's Andy's fault that we're here.
Yeah.
And then that would be either we're voting here or all three of us lose our votes and we get nothing. Andy, does that make more sense to you? No, it shouldn't. But you are the reason that we're here. You guys won and you guys have the chickens. Like, you guys are set. So it doesn't make sense to me that I have to lose my vote if I felt that way like Teeny. If I felt that way if I'm Teeny, because you two are correct. There was no choice here by us, which is why I'm turning to Andy and saying there was no choice here by us. You guys made the choice, so you got to like do the thing.
I think Caroline played it beautifully though, because like Teeny could have been like, "Sorry guys, I'm going to tribal. I can't lose it," and then Andy was like, "You guys saw me be on the bottom of my tribe. Everybody knows that, so I can't do it." Where Caroline was like, I'm actually also on the bottom, guys. Like, I totally can't do it. Which
No,
is,
this is why,
he
right?
plays it off so well.
This is why I disagree completely with every aspect of what Kylie said, except for I dislike the twist. I dislike the twist for a different reason, but saying that people are helpless and they have no, like, it all just happened to them. This all didn't just happen to you. Like, for example, Teeny. Okay, we'll stick with Teeny. As much as I love Teeny as a character on the show, like, did Teeny win the challenge? Did her tribe win the challenge? No. If she wanted more power on who went, you should have won the challenge. That's what the challenge is for. These are consequences to people's actions. Did Teeny go on the puzzle? No. She let Rome do the puzzle and didn't fight for that. Was that a wrong decision or right decision? Well, it depends on the consequences. These are the consequences, right? Sometimes you can't pick and choose if you accept the consequences for your actions. And sometimes you don't know your consequences until you've done your actions. When you go to the island and you don't fight to keep your vote, you don't refuse to lose it, you don't risk losing it and make one of them do it, there's consequences. And I think saying, they're helpless, was Caroline helpless? Caroline could have done exactly what Teeny did or vice versa, but played it differently, right? I hate saying that it's helpless, but what I do dislike about this is that it's lame. Completely. I think saying you all lose your vote or one of you loses your vote takes a lot of it out. I think what they should have said was you have two choices. You can either all voluntarily lose your vote and all get an advantage and help each other, or one of you can try to be greedy and force the other two to lose their vote and take the challenge for yourself somehow and put some drama in it, right? Instead, it's just the pure pressure of like, no, like, we're all going to lose our vote no matter what. So obviously someone's doing it. Put some other type of choice in there where it's greed versus
I think
friendship.
very easy.
So that was actually the only part. That was the only part that I did like. I did like the timer. Somebody's going to lose it or we're all going to lose it.
I like the timer.
We've seen the dilemma that one person's going to get something and the other two aren't. We've seen that before. This is like a new thing, new social dilemma. That part I like.
No, I think this is a much better situation. Very simply, you guys either decide who's going to lose their vote, or all three of you will reach in this box. Two of you will lose your vote. One of you will not.
Well, that's okay. That's different from what we saw today.
And if you voluntarily lose your vote, then you guys all get an advantage. That's fine. But if you go to the box, two of you will lose your vote. One of you will not. It will be at random, and you get no advantage.
Sure, I would like that a little bit more.
Because then I'm like, do I want to like force them to do this and I still lose my vote? That's pretty fucked up.
But I didn't feel like there was any way that any individual could really burn the others. Like, because even if you refuse to lose your vote, well, so did they. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like there was no way you could offend the others here, and I feel like that was what was lost. Like, I really love there's a chance you might burn a bridge here. There was only either we all die or I help you. Like there was no, I
disagree
could
with
burn
that.
you.
Because like somebody could like Teeny or Andy could be like, I'm about to go to tribal. I'm very nervous. I'm at the bottom.
Sure.
And Caroline played it very smoothly where she didn't
Yeah.
like give away that she's in a good position, but she could
Yep.
be like, I'm good, but I'm not giving up my vote. So one of you guys has to do it. Like there are ways where if you play it off socially wrong, then you can make some real enemies.
Well, that's fine. But in the end, the other person could still choose to give up their own anyway, and still like you're not really offending someone. You're just making them have another choice, right? You're not you're not stealing from them in any way.
But the way you approach this 1 minute game approaches how you're going to do the amulet, because it's supposed to be a shared thing. So if you can all collaborate on this one, then maybe you can collaborate with the amulet thing.
Honestly, it felt as soft as these new seasons. That's what this challenge was, or this visit.
I don't know.
So it felt as soft as a rock hard diamond. That's what.
Like I don't know what toughness you're looking for, Robbie. Like people can't. I'm not even gonna get into it. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it. We're an hour in.
Yeah.
We need to talk about Rome.
We got to talk about the most important part. All right. So Genevieve, who? Oh, Genevieve. Okay. So this was Genevieve's coming out party to the season of Survivor, because she had like 2 confessionals this whole season, and then all of a sudden,
blood out, she's here.
She's here, like busted through it like the Kool-Aid Man. Great. Okay, so when we get back to the beach, Rome immediately is like, well, this is easy. It's going to be Saul. So maybe I can just force Saul to give me his shot in the dark, and I keep the still a vote for our alliance, and we just get him on out of here. And they're like, Keyshawn's like, it's like a great idea. You should definitely do that. Y'all, I mean, I've already talked about that I liked Keyshawn's thinking earlier in the episode. I'm not gonna lie, when Keyshawn was kind of narrating this, pre-tribal council shit show, for lack of a better word, I looked at my husband, I was like, I think he is phenomenal. So, I mean, talk about being blindsided. I mean, I was as blindsided as Keyshawn was, because I was like, he's great. Mm-hmm. I loved everything he was doing, but the result was not good somehow.
Yeah.
How
did we get here, y'all?
Because they went for our boy Rome. I mean, that was kind of it. So first off, I feel like we talked so much about the vote and the amulet. The thing we should really be talking about is the fact that Saul couldn't get a breath around here, right? The fact that Keyshawn pushed for Rome to follow Saul around and just stick to him like a cornerback on a wide receiver, and
White
don't let him out of your sight.
You will.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then when Saul's like, "Can I get a breath?" He's like, "No, you can't. No, you can't. Okay, it's a Survivor. Okay, on Survivor, I can go where I want, and I go where you go."
I loved it, y'all. I can't help it. Okay, I did. I loved it.
Years ago,
I felt so bad, but it was such good TV.
Years ago, there was a heavyweight fighter named Klitschko. He one of the Klitschko brothers, and there's a guy that was trying to get a fight with the Klitschko brother, and he went and antagonized him like all through. I think it was Miami. So there's videos on the internet. If you guys look it up, it's from like 16 years, like from 2016. It's literally the guy would be like on vacation, and then the guy following the Klitschko brother would be next to him while he's trying to tan on the beach. At one point, he's riding a jet ski, and the guy that's following him has pulled up on a jet ski next to him. He's in a restaurant. The guy orders the same food, and he sits across from him at his table. And the Klitschko brother says, Can you leave me alone? He says, "No, I go where you go, champ. I eat what you eat, champ. I do what you do, champ." And he's like in his face. He ends up getting the fight, gets demolished. But it was the build up, because he wanted the fight, but he was like the number 9 fighter. He was nowhere near in line, but he put himself in line by being antagonizing. And when I watched Rome freak out on Saul and tell him, "I'm in charge. Okay, listen to me. We're on Survivor. This is Rome's Island. Okay, I do what I want, and that coupled then with the ultimatum, where he sits down with them and says, "Here's the situation, Rome. Here's the situation, Saul. You could give me your shot in the dark, and then we vote you. We don't vote you out,
We vote Genevieve out.
or I use this right here. Hold on. This little thing right here. You get to steal a vote, and then the person won't get to play it. You see this? Read it.
Yada yada yada. He says.
Yeah. Yada yada yada. You see the rest? You know the rest. I'm gonna play this on you. You still won't use your shot in the dark, and then I'm gonna vote your ass out. How do you feel about this? You make a choice. When he's like wild with it,
Like, what do you do if you're Saul? Like,
exactly.
what do you do? Because, like, you're pretty sure he's going to vote you out no matter what.
So well.
Yeah.
Because I honestly was thinking the same thing of being like, I don't even know what I would do in his position.
I think
probably, like,
CBS
explode.
should hire Saul to coach every season of newcomers conflict resolution.
Actually,
Like when they're all coming in, listen, you might have to deal with a difficult personality on the island. And here are the tools and techniques that I've used on the island to mitigate the stress and the anxiety caused by some strong personalities. And it's like a presentation of Rome, basically. It's just like
no. You said, what do you do? Rome, you gave me two options. I could give you my shot in the dark, and you might not vote me out. You could take my shot in the dark, and you're going to vote me out. Or I could punch you in the face and take my own shot in the dark, and then I'm out of here. I'm out of here regardless. But at least I got my pound of flesh.
I mean,
that's actually a really good point.
What I am thinking, if I am in Saul's position, is I would say, if you are going to do something like you are basically giving me no outs here, and if I'm going to be the vote, then I am going to make you burn your advantage. So if you're going to take my shot in the dark and my chance to get to stay in the game, then I'm going to take your advantage. And I've been like, fuck you, and walked off. That is what I would have done.
And throw all the fishing equipment in the ocean, the pot, the pan, the machete.
Burned the camp down.
Cut holes in the tarp.
Now, I probably would not have done all of that, but that is what I would have done if I were.
I like that idea though. Set the place on fire. Well, you don't have the flint though. That's the only problem. So yeah,
you have a machete. You can do a lot of damage.
I'm cutting everything
up. You can't get
up
the machete or the spear because Rome won't let anybody else touch it. So.
And look, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna run to the ocean, and I'm just gonna throw it in the ocean because you put me here. You told me there was no choices for me, so I told you some choices I still had. I could be civilized, or I could act like the monster you want me to be, so I could just be that monster. Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm like, this sucks for Saul. Like, he has no choice because Rome has offered him this ultimatum. And this is very funny, it's a threat, it's an ultimatum. I loved it. I loved it carrying over into tribal. But while they're sitting there, Rome is like, Genevieve, you know what's crazy is when Keyshawn had the idea of, like throwing your name out as like the alternative to Saul, so for me to, put this ultimatum on him, Genevieve's like, hold on a second. You said that Keyshawn threw my name out as like the decoy vote? And we get this montage of these confessionals playing in her head. This was great editing. I freaking love this. Survivor continues to do new fun things with the editing. 10 out of 10. They're phenomenal. And Genevieve is like, you know what? This doesn't exactly work for me. And I love seeing someone take their game into their hands, and whether it ends up being a great decision for Genevieve or a terrible decision for Genevieve, at least she had some agency in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, complete agency. Now, I don't necessarily, it's hard for me to read the tea leaves a little bit here on whether or not it's the right move long term, but I mean, it depends what type of ally do you want. I mean, do you want somebody who's energetic, getting advantages, but also a massive target, or do you want someone who's strategic and can help think you through the game? Not saying that she can't do that herself, but Kashan is definitely on another level when it comes to making people do things that benefit him and his alliance.
Right. And I mean,
But the question I have is, who actually put Genevieve's name in Saul's ear? Was that not Rome?
Yeah, it totally was.
Right? So like Rome is the one that literally said the
Keyshawn
name, right?
of using Genevieve's name. And if you are Genevieve, you have to say, okay, obviously, if this is a conversation between the two of them, he wasn't going to say Rome's name. And Rome, okay,
Yeah.
so take them off. There was two choices there. And if I'm Genevieve, Keyshawn had the choice between saying Teeny's name or saying my name. And so that proves to me that I am not number one for Keyshawn. So you know what? You know who I am number one for? Rome.
I need to rewatch that scene because I remember it that Rome actually said Genevieve first, and that Keyshawn agreed to it because it wasn't his name.
I don't think that part matters.
No, I think it does. If Rome is the one that says, I think we should use Genevieve, and Kashan agrees, and then Rome's the one that goes and Rome comes up with the idea, Rome goes and does it, and then Rome says it's someone else.
So,
that's an even better move for Rome.
Kylie, tell them about Kashan's exit interview with Rob.
I did not listen to it today.
Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, so on the exit interview, he said that like there was a three: him, Teeny, and and Genevieve. There were three. So he like said that he went to her and told her first, hey, I used your name. Is that cool? Because this is what happened when I was talking to Rome. Rome was like, what name should I give Saul? And because I don't want it to be me, being Rome. And Keyshawn had asked about what to tell Saul, and he said, don't say my name. And then Keyshawn's like, why? Like, he only wants either you or Genevieve gone. Like, he wants to work with me and Teeny. Like, what are you talking? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And after he was like, well, I guess it has to be Genevieve. That's what Rome said. So then he said, so Genevieve. Then he said that when he goes and tells Saul that, when he went back, he told Genevieve. So I had to tell him, explain how Rome was adamant about not being him, explain the situation. Genevieve said, that all makes sense. So he said it was very interesting then that the editing made it sound like that was the reason, when he definitely ran it by her and explained the logic. And she said, that makes sense. It's cool. But he suspects that she wanted him out much earlier than that.
I guess we'll only know when we get her take. But
interesting to know what it was that flipped it, because with the little bit of scrambling, the ultimatum conversation, we see Genevieve, who earlier in the episode had done a really, really great job of, like recognizing the situation that Saul was in and creating that olive branch and, reaching it out to him. And we see it come back around in this, because she sits down with Saul and she's like, listen, we can do something else here, but you kind of got to put your pride to the side. Rome has to put his pride to the side, and we can take out someone that isn't on anybody's radar and is a much bigger threat long term. And we can get out Keyshawn. And if y'all can set it aside and you can work together, we can do this.
And the thing is, neither Saul nor Rome want to do this. They all sit together and they both look at each other and like, nah, we're not doing this. I'd rather vote you out. It's like to each other's face.
Yeah.
And it's a big testament to Genevieve's, I guess, social persuasion right over here, because she's not the one with the steal a vote. She's not the one who has the power to control the votes, but she's able to go up to Rome and say, hey, you want to vote out Saul, but you're going to do this. And she's able to go to Saul and say, hey, you want to vote out Rome, but you're going to do this. This is entirely her move and her control. She is the one who is playing Rome's steal a vote right over here. It's all her brainchild.
Yeah. And I wanted to add that this is really, really good of Genevieve, because they didn't need Saul. Whenever they find out that Teeny has lost her vote, at that point in time, they have the numbers. It doesn't matter what Saul does. If Saul does not vote with them, it is still going to be 3-2.
Yeah, and I was actually going to mention that a second ago too, where this really it almost made me sick watching Rome before he realized the math and the teeny vote was missing and all that stuff and that he didn't need Saul. When he went basically to beg Saul to work together, and his when I say beg, I mean he just spoke normal. Like he didn't aggressively attack him like he did earlier in the episode. When he had power, he was this unstoppable force that could just be as aggressive and abusive as he wanted to be. And then the second that he was human again or mortal, he was like, oh, we're equals, sorry, overstepped, let's work together. I don't have anything against you personally. Like I hate people who act like that. I hate people who, when they have a little bit of power, suddenly they're this elite unstoppable force, and the second they need your help, oh yeah, that's not the real me. That I was overstepping. That's not really who I am. Let's work together. And then once he realizes again he doesn't need him, well, it's like he doesn't.
I kind of disagree with the fact that he toned it down. His apology is like, "I'm sorry that you're upset."
He did a horrible job at it. I'm not saying,
it's like, "I'm sorry that you're upset and that you feel that way, but you need to understand that I'm a good person, so we're cool."
Yeah,
the
it was a TK apology. It was no different than TK's apology to Tiana at the beginning, where TK's like, here's like, why I was aggressive to you.
I realize in this situation I need to apologize. However, I don't mean it.
Yeah, and there's no actual apology there. It's, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
Not I'm sorry for my actions. They were inappropriate.
Right.
But anyways, you're right, Kylie. In the end, Saul just appeased, the powers of be, and he got to keep his vote. He got to keep his
Saul. I mean, this is Genevieve's move through and through. Remarkable. Like, put a stamp on it. Like, this is Genevieve's episode. Yeah. However, Saul is the one that comes out the next best because obviously he's still in the game, which is the most important. He still has his shot in the dark, and now he has, at least on the surface, smoothed this a little bit with Rome and Genevieve. And
he also picked up an ally in Teeny.
Yeah. And like he has had these really great moments with Teeny, and just like where Teeny is like, hey Saul, like I just couldn't, I'm so sorry I wrote your name down last episode, but I could not vote Asia. Saul, by the same token, be like, so sorry, Teeny, that I had to do this, but it was either me or Keyshawn. But now Saul is in a little bit of the power position there. So like 10 out of 10 on him too.
Yeah, I agree with that. But this is also a great moment to talk about what an amazing player Teeny is. So like, and you do see that moment where Teeny voted for Saul. And then they have that conversation afterwards. And by the end of the conversation, Saul is apologizing to Teeny for being voted for. Like, that's how powerful Teeny's social game is. And Teeny was in that 4-person alliance with like Rome, Genevieve, and Keyshawn. Didn't tell him that she wasn't voting with them. And they're like, Teeny didn't stick to the plan. That's fine. And then here you have Teeny not having a vote. And still Teeny is the only person on the entire tribe whose name has not come up once. That is Teeny's social game. Teeny's not like the most strategic player. That's why she lost her vote. But in terms of social game, there's a reason why Keyshawn went home here and she didn't. It's because Keyshawn is a strategic threat, but he doesn't have the same social capital. He can't make people fall in love. He can't vote for you and then make you want to work with you the next round.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
Teeny showed that her weakness is loyalty. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a great ally? Right? Like I'm not being sarcastic. Like she showed that her weakness, like the reason why she voted for Saul and put herself out there and, put herself as a potential target for Saul is because she was too loyal to Asia to vote for her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And imagine getting that person on your side, right? Yeah. Like that's what you want. You want someone who, when they need to look at you in the eye and lie and tell you you're safe when you're not, they're going to break down and cry and say, I'm supposed to lie to you, but I can't. It's you. That's what that's what you want in an ally, and hopefully that happens for Teeny with some folks here. I hope there's a tribe swap, and I hope that someone saves Saul. So, I think he's screwed.
Two things that I wanted to bring up. One, let's say we come into next episode with no swap, and we see this tribe back at tribal council. do you think that this is where the shot is taken at Rome, or do you think Rome and Genevieve are so locked in together now? And do you think Teeny can get out of this? Because
Oh, I think we're going to rocks.
her ass is on the fire.
We're putting Genevieve to rocks.
I'm not sure we're going that far because Genevieve has a good social relationship with Teeny. They'll mend it out. Teeny's not going to hold a grudge because that's not going to be good for Teeny's game. And Genevieve doesn't want a grudge there, so that's going to be fine. And Genevieve just saved Saul's ass. So
No,
Genevieve
so
has
this is-
working relationships, and Genevieve has already pointed out, hey, maybe sticking out for Rome could be bad for my game later on.
But
So
see, that's the thing, though. So if we go back to Treble right now, it's Rome versus Saul. Rome no longer has plot armor; he has nothing else. So it's time to go for him. If Genevieve's saying no, I think Teeny goes to rocks to get Genevieve to make the switch because you don't think Genevieve's going to die for Rome.
I think Teeny's too smart to go to rocks. I think she would do the math on how close they are to Mergatory and be like, I got to survive a vote and hope for the best.
But is it?
I don't know. You know
but
Teeny obviously more than I do, right? But I find it hard to think that Teeny knows Saul well enough that Teeny would risk her game.
But do
for
y'all
Saul.
think that the vote is going to be on Saul, or do you think that the vote would be on Teeny?
I think on Saul. I don't see Rome and
Saul.
Saul getting along well enough for another 2 days for that to work.
Oh no, there's no way that Saul is ever like Saul will put on the same emotionless, apathetic face that he's had trying to deal with the anxiety storm that is Rome. I love watching Rome. Just to be clear, I love watching Rome. I think the way he's treating Saul is horrible, but I think the way he's playing the game is extremely entertaining. But I think that, there's no way Saul will ever trust Rome.
Yeah.
And I think Rome will know that. And I think Jeannie, I was going to say Genevieve will know that. Jeannie, that's what I said. Jeannie and Teeny. I think Genevieve will know that too. Genevieve is a smart individual. Like when I watched the preseason stuff, like Genevieve was really high on my list. Actually, number 2. I ranked them all like 1, 2, 3 through. And she was my number 2 pick. I would have picked if I could have in our draft. I think she's been off camera for a reason. And I think it's because there's a lot more content coming and people who are leaving got their screen time now. But I don't know. I think Teeny's a survivor and she's social and she's going to know the social cues when it's time to jump ship and when it's time to hold fast.
Another thing is Genevieve has options here. Like she has been working with Saul. She has been working with Teeny to some extent, and she has been working with Rome. I think Genevieve, if she sees Saul and Teeny become too tight, then she'll go, ooh, maybe I'll stick with Rome. But if Genevieve sees it as a 3 or feels closer to one of the 2 or like can work that, then I see Genevieve flipping on Rome at the next one. Another thing to consider is there's an idol back at camp now. If Sue can find one, then so can anybody on red. And
there's red paint.
Change up the dynamic.
There's red paint for sure. I hope there's more.
2 things before we wrap it up. One, I have been seeing some stuff on Twitter that says Genevieve's mannerisms and how she speaks are very, very similar to Parvati. And like now that I've seen it and I've been watching for it, mainly in this last episode because this is the first time we're really seeing her. Yeah, she's like kind of Parvati coded. Do y'all see that?
I'm team always like approaching new players as if
No.
player.
I'm not saying anything like her gameplay style, her actual mannerisms.
Oh, like just the way she
sounds
talks.
a bit like Parvati and how she speaks and kind of how she physically speaks. And so I was like, wow, yeah, she does have a little bit of Parvati.
I don't see it. I'll be honest with you. I don't see it. I think I see she's almost too.
Not her gameplay at all. Not saying that part. I'm saying
I think
delivery of words.
Yeah,
I have not noticed. I do not.
I think she needs to be more positive,
former,
like fake happy, if she wants to pull that kind of tone.
I don't think about these former survivors enough in my brain to know what their mannerisms were.
But no, I think Genevieve, when she was laying in the whatever it was, like the half shelter, and they were talking about Keyshawn's plan. It's like, it's great. I just laid here and he just told me the plan. Like it sounded sarcastic. It didn't sound. Maybe we heard it differently, but to me, it was like, oh, she's not happy. I don't think I would have got that.
And then the second thing, loved getting y'all's ideas about what is going to happen in the potential of them going back. But boys and girls, it appears via a picture on Twitter that we are getting a tribe swap. Holy shit. Everyone hold on to their wieners into 2 tribes.
Hold on.
One
I
step
have
ahead
to
of
ask
you. I'm getting hands are up. Hands
just
are up.
enter the chat. Gotta ask him. Rome, did you throw the challenge?
I don't even know what Rome is talking about, but yes, they sound very similar.
You're talking about Genevieve. It's perfect.
About
You were
Genevieve.
just talking about it.
Look, I just like it whenever someone says Kylie is correct.
All right, I'll bow down to the master on this one. He knows he was there. All right.
Yeah, but it looks like we're being swapped into a blue tribe and a yellow tribe, and the red will be no more. And we are getting, I just hyperventilated, 2 tribes for the first time in 7 fucking seasons, y'all. I don't even know. Like, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see how these dynamics shake out in slightly bigger groups because, I mean, we are still only going to have 7 people on a tribe, but it does not matter. It's only 2 fucking tribes.
Okay, that's fantastic because when I made my comment about Saul needing some form of tribe swap, I did not know that. So I am happy that's the case because, I'm hoping there's a lifeline out there. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I mean, shit can be, shown differently, but I think it's real. Sound the alarm, like makes me want to, in excitement, punch the screen. I'm so excited.
That means I have to buy a new buff now.
So
I see it, Kevin. I see
in
it.
the chat.
I see
Robbie. I'm glad you see it because I want to make sure we bring it up here. My guy Rome says we were on that puzzle for 25 minutes. I did not throw it. He was bad at it.
I gotta be honest with you, Kevin, though. You seem pretty happy for having such low faith in Rome's ability to do a puzzle. At least I was the one in the argument that assumed he would have been better at that and assumed he did it on purpose. All right. So
I love Rome. I'm great. He's a great dude.
He's a
great dude. Met the dude. Listen, he was bad at that puzzle. You know what I'm saying? It was just bad. Bad at that puzzle.
That was pretty rough.
For you to be like, oh man, I think he was throwing it. I'm like, nah, man, you don't throw it like that. That's not how you throw. That's not how you throw. I
like that comment, Sheldon. Well done.
Yeah.
Listen,
Rome was not built in a day or 25 minutes.
No, man. Oh man.
All right. So I'm excited, y'all. Like, I'm having so much fun this season. I do think that the new era gets better every single season. I will look at that compliment with an asterisk. So I am enjoying it. I cannot wait to see what happens. And I really, really cannot wait to see what happens when we switch to 2 tribes. Kevin.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Loved it. I'm loving this season, like all the seasons. Unlike you, Kylie, I've been enjoying. I enjoy what I'm given.
Curmudgeon Kylie.
Every time. Kylie hates everything. So does Sheldon in the chat. They hate everything that's new and fresh. They want all the. I mean, Robbie's not too far off from them. Give me the old. I want the old. Nah, man, listen. Everything's
correct.
New, fresh as popping.
And then I'm the opposite extreme where I'm like, this is the greatest Survivor season ever.
Right. You're not even in the category because you just say, Teeny's
I'm
the
just
best.
so right. Well, I'm kind of right.
And the moment Teeny goes home, this season sucks. But
I mean, well, I'm not going to do that because it's not going to happen.
Well, because I can predict the future. The moment Teeny goes home, this season sucks.
So when Teeny doesn't go home, what then? Then
this is the best season ever. There was never a better season. It can't never, unless Teeny comes back to win All Stars. There's no better season. That's what Ryan will be.
I mean, when you're right, you're right.
So, with all that being said, Kylie, my final thoughts for this episode is another great episode. Rome's playing as chaotic as I thought, right? But it's working right now. On the Yellow Tribe, Sam's trying to keep control. That's not working right now. And on the Blue Tribe, Sue had a lot of paint. That's kind of all we got on the Blue Tribe. Oh, and then Gabe looks like he's making moves, which I like to see. So if they're going to 2 tribes, I'm really excited to see how that's going to go because it's new dynamics. And then I wonder what Mergatory looks like. So I'm excited.
I hope that if we swap, we get Rome and Sol in the same tribe, Sue and Kyle in the same tribe, and then Sam and Annika on the same tribe.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then somebody random.
Yeah, we want all 6 of those and then throw like, I don't know, somebody very, very like Caroline.
Andy. You
Very
throw
neutral.
Andy in there.
Throw
Throw
Andy.
Andy there. Yes. Exactly this person that we need. Beggars can't be choosers. 2 tribes. Can't wait. Robin,
Yeah.
final thoughts.
My final thoughts, 2 quick points. One, it's been a while, or it's taken a while for one tribe to acclimate to Rome. If they do merge to 2, I'm curious how the new tribe mates will acclimate, how quickly they will get used to Rome's energy and charisma, we'll say. And the second thing is I always have to mention the fact that I could have done that puzzle in about 5 minutes. And if anybody doubts me, then they should put me on the island and put me to the test. So there we go. I'll say that every episode if I have to, but anyways, yeah. And I'm getting sick and tired of having Jeff Probst say, if you think you could be here and you could do this, then apply. It's like, God damn, some of us have been applying for a decade here. This is like, God damn. But anyways.
Well,
Okay.
don't stop it. Keep trying.
I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll be one of the fools that applies for 20 years and never gets on there. But hey, I am who I am.
I'll see you out
Right.
there.
Give us your final thoughts here.
My final thoughts is, although this episode did not go in Teeny's favor, it was still phenomenal. I love this cast. We have messy tribes and messy tribe dynamics. Like there's tension on every single tribe. The fact that I could just name like a rival pair in every single tribe means you know it's spicy and you don't know where it's going to go. We saw this episode. We thought it'd be, Romer Saul. Genevieve popped out of nowhere and took out Keyshawn. Like, I think that's what we're going to see from this season is a lot of blindsides out of nowhere from which seems out of left field, but makes total sense when you break it down. And Tina's going to win.
Okay, there it is. All right. Well, we will be back next Thursday to talk about hopefully this. I am correct. This swapped Final 14 and what comes of it. And also, we will be back for our very last Big Brother coverage of the season Monday. Definitely Kevin and CJ. Who knows? We may have the whole crew back together one last time to send off a phenomenal Big Brother season. Fingers crossed that we have a phenomenal winner to represent this phenomenal season. But we will be back Monday with that, Thursday with the latest of the Survivor recap, and we will see all of you guys next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.